Let me ask you something. How many times have you said, when I have money, I will finally be able to do this thing. And when I do this thing, then people will finally know who I am. That is the success formula most people live their lives on. And it is completely backwards. Today, I'm going to show you why and what the real order looks like and how flipping it changes literally everything. The conversation starts now. The reason why a lot of us struggle in life and the reason why a lot of us get depressed in life is because we flipped the success formula backwards.
Right.
How many people say, I wish I had, or when I have money, I can finally do this thing.
Yeah.
And when I do this thing, then they'll know who I am.
But you should know who you are.
So you can do, so you can have. Wow. But how many of us are constantly saying, I don't have this?
Oh, snap.
So when I say I was abused, what you're saying is, I don't have the life that other people who weren't abused have.
Yeah.
So I can't do what they are doing because I have been deprived of this thing. And only when...
And then that becomes your identity.
It becomes your identity. Wow. But when you look at life, how many celebrities or famous people who've, when you look at their stories, been abused, became multi-billionaires. They did not let the disturbance, the disruption affect the call on their life.
Yeah.
And what ends up happening is that incident, that disturbance actually becomes what builds credibility around them.
Yeah.
For me, almost getting kicked out of school allowed me to bring that credibility and that understanding because I had felt that experience.
Yeah.
So I could bring it into product development and build portfolios that help hundreds of thousands of people because I can connect with those folks. So a lot of us don't realize that the pain we've gone through is actually a setup because that's what makes us relatable.
That's so crazy, Terry. We have to wrap it up just now, but I'm just thinking as you're talking that this is such an important piece, right, in this conversation because, again, like I'm saying, we flip the equation, right? Because we're constantly driven by the negative, the things that we don't have. We keep focusing on that. And I think there's a sense in which we feel like, one day when I meet God, God is going to feel sorry for me. Or God is going to be like, man, I understand my child. But then when we go to and I think about this often, right? When we go to the parable of the talents, God is not looking at the guy who had the one talent and saying, oh man, sorry, dude, I understand you just had one. No, God is you wicked servant.
Yeah, like he's not saying, you had a bad upbringing so I can understand.
You see what I'm trying to say? He's not saying, you were abused, or you didn't have your parents growing up. Yeah. I'm sorry, right? Of course, God is empathetic. God understands our situations. But God is still expecting us to be fruitful. Yeah. God is still expecting us to produce the things that we're supposed. So I think it's that thing now that should make us stop in our tracks and really sober up and say, flip. I need to do what I need to do because God, I need to work with what God has given me to produce, and producing doesn't mean that we're all going to become multimillionaires necessarily, but producing means that we have to work in the tracks that God has given us to work in. Yeah. We have to produce where we are. We have to make an impact where we are. We have to develop the skills and the gifts that He's given us. We can't just bury them in the sand and say, okay, no, Keith had 5 and Keith has got all these talents. I just have 1 and I didn't grow up well and I didn't go to a good school, so I'm just going to bury mine and feel sorry for myself. God is like, you wicked servant.
It's like the words were harsh, man, like that. Yeah. That's a harsh one, yeah. But I think that also tells you how much God has put in you. Because He would never ask of you something He hasn't given you the ability to do, right? Yeah. So that's where the wickedness comes in. He's saying, look, I do understand what you're going through. And I think when we read the Bible, there's so many stories that show us that He doesn't take those who have perfect lives. I don't know where the narrative of the perfect life comes from. Yeah. Like, think about being a king who misses his own inauguration. Right? He's not invited to his own inauguration. Yeah. But then goes and with all the things we mess up. So I think the lesson He's trying to tell us is that, look, the world I've put you in, and I think even when He creates the world, there's a point where He says He regretted creating this world because He was saying, man, these cats be evil,
so messed up.
So when we see evil, it's like, this is what the world is like. This is like the very reason Christ came down, because man can do some mean things, but he wanted us, like, why would he allow his son to die? He's just wanting to show you that, look, the world I put you in you'll have trouble in this world. So like Jesus is even saying, if you're going to be successful, brace yourself. There's trouble.
In this world, you're going to have trouble.
But I've put in you something that allows you to overcome this world, because you're on my squad. The only time you lose is when you're not on my squad. But if you're joining my squad, that should let you know that there is nothing that can happen to you. That you can't get over.
Right.
And I think
there are no champions without opposition.
Ooh, fire. How can you be a champion? How can you be the best, right?
When you haven't defeated anything.
So winning only is valuable if there's a possibility of losing.
Yeah.
So like there has to be the law of contrast has to exist.
Yeah.
Because can you imagine going through life, you wake up and everything's hunky-dory. You go to the shops, you get what you need, right? You go to work, everyone's high-fiving you. You go to a client, they buy. Like, guys, it gets boring, though.
It gets boring, man.
It gets boring. Like, we may not want to admit it, but that opposition, the possibilities that someone could say no, even in marriage, man. If every woman you saw and said, will you marry me, said yes. How would you know you've got the right partner? Like, even if it's like, guys, there has to be the possibility that she'll say no.
Right. Right.
For it to make sense.
Right.
So it already shows us that if we're not bracing ourselves for opposition, how will we really know how much it's worth?
Oof, that's so good. So the deception of ease, right? The deception that we feel like.
Put that on the deception of ease.
That we feel like things have to be easy.
Yeah.
But nothing is easy. Life is not easy. Nothing that is worthwhile is going to be easy. We have to put in some work. Anyway, guys, we have to wrap it up here. Man. Terry, just real quick, I want us to talk a bit about you said you've got a business. Is it a platform? Is it a thing that you've got? What exactly is that, and how can people get access to that? Yeah.
So what we've done is it's we've put it under Educate for now. So we've got like we in previous conversations we spoke about the work we're doing with money management, because I think another aspect is for us, we view money as a certificate of performance, and we look at wealth as both as a reward for serving other people, right? So a big thing about when someone gets to know who they are, right, and starts to do the things that they are called to do, is they are going to produce things that are going to be very valuable for other people. So that it's going to attract a lot of certificates of performance, right? So what we've done is we've built like a toolkit. We call it the Patterns to Cash toolkit.
Okay.
So all the folks need to do is just let us know if they go on our LinkedIn. Look, I'm interested, right? You pay for it, of course, and it's based on how deep you want to go. So everything from helping you identify to then coming up with how we lead you. And then one of the things we've added recently is how do we monetize your strengths? Because there's so many things, especially in the world we're in now, like we now in the era of digital assets. So wealth has moved to things that are digital, that do not know borders. So you can now grow your wealth without the limitation of being in Zimbabwe. So if you were crying and saying Zimbabwe is tough, you don't need to be doing business just in Zimbabwe. And digital assets are allowing us to do that, right? And you don't need cheap to create. So that's the thing that we've added, a report that allows you to see some of the digital assets you can begin to create that you are naturally built for. And what I love about the work we've been doing is that we've tested it on, man, I've been doing this. Like one of the things I do is I seldom start talking about something until I've tested on at least 100 people.
Wow.
So we've done this on hundreds of people now. And the conversations were from if I was an apostle, people would probably think I see into their futures, because like they were like, hey, if I was on food, they'd be like, hey, Papa sees. Because when you show people, like your patterns, like your strengths are your patterns, right? Natural recurring patterns. So when I show you this, you're like, that's why I used to do this. That's why I was like, So it's really shown us that this is as close as we've gotten now to helping people discover that aspect of God's creativity in them. And we continue to develop it until, because one of the things we also want to do is we want to make the first step feel easy.
Right.
And if we can deposit significant belief in your bank of beliefs, the next part of acting is a lot easier. So we've created these into short little reports, assessments that sort of help you go through it and give you techniques on how to apply it. And we check in and find out from you how it's going. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I love it. And how do people access? So it's Educate.
So it's Educate. So they can email us at help@educate and just say, look,
.co.zw.
Definitely. Yeah. Or they can reach out to me on my LinkedIn. I'm very active on LinkedIn. So that's Terrence Mugova.
Okay.
And we just start the conversation there, and our team will get things moving for you. Yeah.
Awesome. Lovely.